What's up, Bulldogs? Alright, so a lot of you guys have been asking me because you've been hearing me use the phrase top 5% man. Be a man who beats 19 other men in the room, and you're wondering, John, what does that actually mean? what does it take to actually be a top 5% man? And you know, I was thinking about this and I'm like, duh, and then I realized, actually, wait a minute, I haven't actually really answered this question. Let's actually dissect this and look at what it actually takes to be a top 5% man. If you guys are just joining me for the first time, I'm John from BulldogMindset.com. On this channel, I teach you how to be a man. I teach you how to build financial independence, how to get the physique you want, how to get the girls you want, how to go from the victim mindset to the Bulldog mindset. So click that subscribe button. Join us, guys, on this journey, and click the bell so you get notifications. Also, if you haven't already, take the Bulldog quiz. Just take a moment here, open it up in another window. It's in the cards here. It's 10 questions. You're going to be glad you took it because it's going to tell you where you're starting from, where you are right now. Maybe you're already a Bulldog. Maybe you're a badass and you're doing well, but most likely you've got some issues you need to work on. I'm going to show you what they are with my simple 10 question quiz. So go take that now. All right, now let's talk about this. What does it mean, first of all, to be a top 5% man? Okay, why is it so important? Let's start there. Well, here, like I said, you know, the reason why, right, for a lot of you guys that are looking to be attractive to women and understanding, you know, why is it that women don't like you, or why is it so hard for you? If you're a bottom 95% guy, you're pretty much going to have a difficult time, right? Because all women want, what they're actually chasing after, is a top 5% man. Regardless of where a woman is in her value, okay, whether she's attractive or not, she still wants a top 5% guy. See, guys are a little bit different in the sense that if a guy's not so high up in the attractiveness scale, not so high up in the status scale, let's say, that he will look for a girl that what he can get, that's about equivalent to his level, and he'll be okay and happy with that. Of course, he would want better, but he's fine with that. But women are not that way, okay? They have a hypergamous nature, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but it is a thing to be aware of, is that they want something better than they are, okay? They want a guy that's better than they are, and they want really the highest value guy that they can get. So that's why I say a top 5% guy, because what I have seen and what I've experienced is I've seen that there's this little tweak. It's like when you're not in the top 5%, you have drastically different results from just a little bit, you know, moving up from 90% to 95%, let's say, percentile. And I'll explain what that means in this video. It's a world of results. It's 100 times easier for you, 100 times more results. You're 100 times more successful. You have way more options, okay? It's a drastic improvement to just go from 90% to 95, right? And if you can imagine going from 50% to 95%, it's phenomenal. It's a crazy amount of a difference. So that's why it's worth fighting this out, okay? And like I said before, all you need to do is beat out 19 other guys. That's really not that hard. And here's what I'm telling you, is that 10 of them aren't even trying, okay? 10 of them are overweight. They're not even trying to build a physique. They're not even trying to improve themselves. They're not even reading any books, okay? These are things that are in the Bulldog quiz, by the way, if you haven't taken the quiz, all right? They're not trying to improve themselves, to make money, to build a business, to do any of those things, to learn some actual game and social skills and overcome their fears. They're not trying any of that stuff. So by default, it's like 10 of them are gone, all right? Of the 10 that are left, some are, you know, genetically gifted, and that gives them a big boost, okay? But a majority of those, like half of those guys, aren't trying really hard, okay? They've got some things that are going for them naturally, but they're not really putting in the serious amount of effort. So really, I would say that you're competing with 4 guys that have the same mindset as you and that are putting in the effort and maybe have some advantages, maybe some genetic advantages and whatnot that you have to overcome, okay? So that's your real competition. It's not necessarily beating out 19 guys. It's really beating out 4 guys. And, you know, if you're willing to put in the effort, if you're willing to put in the work, you can certainly do that. It is certainly within the realm of possibility. Again, you know, I could throw up my photos here. You can see my before and my after, and you can see, you know, how I transform myself completely. And this is just a physical transformation, but if you go back and you look at some of my older videos, boom, and you see how I talked, okay, and how I looked, and then you see now, it's a drastic change. It's a complete change, okay? Total difference, my bank account, everything, all right? So let's talk about now, finally, the meat of this video, what you came here for, which is what does it take? What is a top 5% man? So the reason why I gave you everything I said so far is because that is what a top 5% man is. He is literally 1 out of 19. If 20 guys are in the room, he's the best. Now, what does it mean to be the best? Okay, so it's a very subjective thing. The best way I could define it, all right, and what I think is the key to female attraction is status. What is status? Okay, let's define again, like I said. Okay, so we have different factors, okay? And the way that most guys are defining it now is they're saying looks, they're saying money, and they're saying game, okay? They say LMS, but status is all of that stuff, okay? Status basically is this. It's the hierarchical position that you hold in a particular hierarchy, okay? So, in the hierarchy of the whole world, okay, a rock star is pretty high up. Everyone knows who he is, you know, very famous, okay, gonna have money as well, but it's very, very high status, high up in the hierarchy, okay, of value, of what people perceive value, okay? So that could change depending on the context, right? So if you work at, let's say, the grocery store, all right, and you are like the coolest guy in the grocery store, okay, and you are the manager, all right, you're going to have some level of status, okay? Women that are working for you are going to see you as a higher status because you're in that hierarchy, all right? Rollo Tomassi talked about this in his great book, The Rational Male. Go check this out. And he talked about, you know, situational alphaness or you know, things like that. So the important thing to understand about status is it's where your perceived value is in the hierarchy, in a particular hierarchy, in a particular context in time. Okay, so this is where the whole looks and money and game comes in. So let's say that you're really bad looking. It's automatically going to sink your status because it's a perceived negative. To be really bad looking is such a negative, okay, that it crosses out a lot of positives. Okay, even if they have a lot of money, even if they have other things going for them, even if they have game, it's going to hurt the status. Now, those other things can bring it up, right? A good example of this historically is Lord Byron. Okay, look up Lord Byron. You know, he was known to be kind of a ugly guy, but he had a lot of things about him that brought his status up, which made him actually attractive. So looks at the low end will hurt you badly. It will hurt your status. At the average end, it doesn't do much. Even at the above average end, it helps you some, but it doesn't really raise your status a large degree. A lot of guys think it does, but at the very high end, okay, so we're talking, you know, having model looks or having six-pack abs, you know, perfect physique, something like that, a top 1% physique. Like when you're in the top 1 percentile in anything, in extreme, it disproportionately adds status. So at the extremes, there's you know, we could look at the bell curve. Okay, it's like a bell curve here, right? If I were to draw this, and I would say at the extremes are huge negative hits to status and huge positive hits to status. If you're really, really ugly, it's going to hurt you really bad overall. If you're really, really good looking, it's going to help you disproportionately as well. If you're in the middle, it's not going to matter too much either way. It's not going to have a big impact on your overall status. We could take money and we can do the same thing, okay? If you have money, again, but money I like to view as more of a multiplier, right? Whatever you have, money multiplies it. It multiplies the negative, it multiplies to the positive, okay? So if your status is leaning to the negative and you have money, it could actually hurt you because it'll make you seem weaker, all right? It doesn't mean that you're not going to have success, but you're going to be taken advantage of, right? This is where you're going to get gold diggers. You're going to get girls that are taking advantage of you, that are utilizing you for your resources, okay? But again, we could look at that same Bell distribution curve and, you know, again, talking about being a top 5% guy, it's about being top 5% in status and overall status. So if you're poor, if you're broke, that's going to hurt you, okay? And it's going to disproportionately hurt you. If you're somewhere in the average, you know, that's good. If you're above average, right, that curve is maybe not so much of a bell curve because having less doesn't hurt you as having more helps you, right? And you hit some kind of point, there's sort of these inflection points, right? If you're making 6 figures, you're beating out a large percentage of guys. That's a fairly high status in comparison. But if you're a millionaire, now you're at a new level. And if you're like a decamillionaire, now you're at a new level. And it doesn't really help you beyond that because most people don't really understand, like there's really no difference between having $10 million and $1 billion in most people's minds because they can't even fathom it. So it doesn't really matter. That's why, like, when people use extreme examples of like, wow, you know, Bill Gates or whatever, he should be crawling in chicks or Jeff Bezos, it doesn't matter because he's got just as many points. Like, you max out your points in money around, let's say, $5 million or $10 million. That's kind of where you max it out, where that lifestyle is sort of at the peak, where it doesn't really matter that much anymore. Okay, so that affects it. All right, then the third one is game. Okay, and game, the way that I'm going to describe it in this context, what I normally describe game is, I'd say it's the ability to get what you want. Okay, that's like game in the bigger sense of it. But let's really call this social skills. So this would be your ability to spit game. Okay, to be seductive, to do let's say pickup or something like that, where you are talking to a woman and you are establishing yourself. You are dealing with her shit tests, right? You're dealing with the situation and you're coming off as smooth. You're coming off as someone who knows what they're doing and is someone who's socially calibrated, okay? So that part of it, that part of being smooth, of being, having those social skills, that can make your status seem really, really high in that small situation, in that scheme of things, because you're socially calibrated. So that can contribute to it a lot. Now, if you're very socially awkward, okay, it's going to hurt you, but there's certain combinations that are okay, right? So you could be fairly socially awkward, but you could have a very, very high degree of looks, and you're probably going to be able to pull that off to some degree. Okay, it's going to work a lot of the time. All right, but if you're very socially awkward and you don't have money and you don't have looks, it's going to hurt you a lot, okay? Because you're going to get taken advantage of. You're going to be used, okay? And especially if you're socially awkward and all you have is money, okay? Now you're really going to be in a bad spot. It's actually going to be negative status to you because it's going to hurt you so much because that money is going to be a multiplier that's going to make your social awkwardness even worse. You're going to seem like a complete dork because you're this rich loser guy. It makes you more of a loser to be a rich loser guy than it does to be a poor loser guy, because it's expected, okay? But if you're a rich loser guy, it doesn't make sense. It's more of a pity you type of situation and take advantage of this guy type of situation, right? But if your social skills are average or normal, you're going to get pretty good points for that, just because everyone's social skills are so low today. And if they're extremely good, okay, and I'm talking extremely good, right? There's a big chasm, what I call here, where when a guy is good at game, he's learning to be socially calibrated, there's this chasm he has to overcome, and he gets no results until he gets really, really good, and then he gets a lot of results. So when you're at the high end of it, it is a huge increase in status. So when you sort of add all those things up, and like I said, certain things are weighed differently, and there's obviously combinations of things that work better than others, okay? It's a complicated equation that is human attraction. That is what ultimately determines your status, right? So again, we could probably add other elements in there, like how other people perceive you, right? Because that's one that people don't usually talk about. But why do other people perceive you in a certain way, right? That's kind of fame, right? So fame itself is maybe a separate thing that contributes greatly to status. It's the most dominant factor that contributes to status, okay? But again, status is sort of, it's not just being famous, okay? Because there's a lot of famous people that aren't considered to be high status. They're not high in the hierarchy, right? They're not extremely attractive just because they're famous, right? Again, we could look at people like Bill Gates, CEOs of companies, right? It's if you're a athlete, or you're a musician, okay, or you're something, a television star, right? That contributes a lot more to status. That fame has a lot more of a carryover to status. So all this is to say that what is it to be a top 5% man, okay? It is to have a status that is higher than 19 other guys on average when you walk into a room, okay? So you can work on that by improving all these areas, right? So if we started with the looks, right? Obviously you can't do so much about your height and your genetics and your facial features, but you can get in shape, okay? You can learn how to dress well. You can learn style. You can lose fat, gain muscle, okay? You can improve your facial aesthetics to some degree, your haircut, your facial hair, things like that, your grooming, okay? So you can do something to improve that. Maybe you can throw swagger into there too, all right? As far as money, right? You can build a business, okay? You can become financially free. You can become financially savvy and develop that area of yourself so that you are, high up in that area. And then in the social skills area, you can develop social skills. You can learn how to seduce a woman. You can learn how to be more attractive, how to carry on conversations, how to be fun and interesting, and how to come across as high value, as high status because of how you interact and respond to people, right? To have that confidence, which is going to come a lot from the other two as well. But it also comes from just having the experience of being able to face rejection, being stoic, having the right mindset. All of those things kind of contribute. And then if you want, you can build up a presence online. You can build up, I teach you how to build audiences and how to build up an actual online presence, which could contribute to your fame, which all these things combine, and you can see how you can move into that top 5% guy. So again, that's why I talk about in the Bulldog Mindset membership in the other video. Go check it out if you haven't already. For $7, you can get in for the first month and you can join us. You can be a member. Just click the card up here. And let me tell you, this is what I created Bulldog Mindset for, was to teach you how to become a top 5% man, okay? Which means what I just told you, right? Improving in all those areas, okay? It doesn't mean that you have to be top 5% in each one of those areas, okay? If you're very extreme in one of the areas, that's going to count a lot of times for bonus points, okay? So, but if you can really, do well in multiple areas, that's going to overall contribute. So some of you, it's going to be a different equation, right? Some of you, you're going to need to develop your social skills. That's the big thing that's holding you back, okay? Some of you, you're going to need to work on your aesthetics. You're going to need to lose some weight. You're going to need to gain some muscle, okay? Some of you, you're going to need to work on your money. You're going to need to get your money right, get your finances right, start building a business, doing all kinds of things like that in order to become a top 5% guy and to build that confidence. Now, I don't want you to think that I'm trying to teach you all this stuff in order for you to get laid. That's not the point, okay? A lot of you are coming at it from that angle, and I'm saying, hey, if you're looking to have an easy time getting laid, you need to be a top 5% guy. So first work on that, and then the rest will come easy. Instead of what you're trying to do is you're just trying to work on the hard part instead of getting all the other stuff that's going to make you well-rounded and build you as a man and build that character that you need in order to have that high status, to have that discipline that's required to get there so that things will be easier. Okay, so like I said, join the Bulldog Mindset membership. There's a link in the card here. And you're going to get access to videos I do every single month on teaching you, every single week actually, on how to be a top 5% guy. Because I have a video that comes out on mindset, then one on finances, then one on fitness, and then one on social skills. So I'm bringing you up in all of those areas. And there's a whole backlog of like 2 years worth of videos now where you can, when you sign in, you get access to all that stuff. So you can go through all the lessons on buying real estate, on building a business, on going on a date, and getting a phone number, and all of those things, okay? Including the fitness stuff, my diet plans, my exercise plans, all that kind of stuff, okay? So you get access to all that stuff. Plus, we have a huge community of guys to answer questions, which is a huge part of this, and and to practice, right? You can build some status within the Bulldog Mindset community. We have definitely some members that I would consider higher status, and you can see how they act and how they behave and how they built that up, and you can do that as well, which means something, right? So that's the key, is to build yourself in the hierarchy. That's why I'm teaching you guys on this channel how to be men, all right? To me, being a man, okay, is being a top 5% man, okay? To me, being a man is self-efficacy, okay? Taking charge of your life, all right? Building yourself as much as you can, okay? Growing physically, growing financially, growing spiritually, growing socially, and maximizing your potential in life. That's what the key is. And if you're working on all those things, you're going to sail into being a top 5% guy before you even know it. Like, you won't have to try in order to get there, because if you're working on all those things, you will just automatically get there, and you'll look back and be like, wow, I'm actually here, okay? Just like so many guys that have worked hard, especially guys that we have members in the Bulldog Mindset membership, you can see these guys have transformed their lives just like I transformed my life and changed your life. So to be a top 5% man, okay, it just means you have to beat out 19 other guys, all right? That's basically what it means, and it means that you're better, okay? When I say better, it is in all those ways, right? It's status, okay? It's money, it's looks, it's all of those things, but not each one of them. It's your total combined score, right? If you excel in certain areas, it's going to help you overall. If you excel in a lot of areas, you're going to be like a top 1% guy. But that's what I teach you how to do in Bulldog Mindset Membership. That's why what this channel is really about is teaching you how to become that man by covering all those areas. Okay, that's why I haven't split this channel up. That's why I'm not just teaching one thing, is because if you don't have all of these areas, you're gonna have holes and you're gonna have problems, and it's gonna lower your status and you're not gonna realize that. But when you're excelling in multiple areas at once and you've got these things, at least you're average in some areas and you've got some that you're excelling in, you're gonna easily be a top 5% guy. So go check it out, Bulldog Mindset Membership, join, become a top 5% guy, and I'll see you inside.